I got here at 3 in the morning, and they said I was not allowed to talk anymore, and you can never leave.
That was an excerpt from The Program, now streaming on Netflix, a documentary that shines a light on so-called teen rehabilitation camps, many billed as therapeutic boarding schools that offer help to troubled children. But many teens forced to attend these programs claim they were abused, neglected, and even tortured. National correspondent Clayton Sandell spoke with one former student who says she experienced that trauma firsthand at the same facility profiled in the program.
Kristen Schwab was 17 years old the night two strangers appeared at her home to take her away.
They told me they had to handcuff me. So I was handcuffed to the female and then walked out of my house into the driveway.
Driven through darkness to a place her parents thought would help her deal with personal traumas that were causing her to harm herself and develop eating disorders. But instead of help, Schwab found herself in a nightmare.
It was insane, and if my parents actually knew where I was, there was no way they would want me there.
Schwab was a captive resident of the Academy at Ivy Ridge near Ogdensburg, New York, which sold itself as a tough-love boarding school for troubled teens. She and her fellow students were under the strictest rules, not allowed to talk or even make eye contact. Punishment could be severe.
You would see girls literally dragged out of the classroom by their hair, down a flight of stairs after being restrained.
She says kids were sometimes locked in solitary confinement.
There was no window, there was no furniture. We had to sit on the floor, and they would keep you in there for days.
Nothing was private. Schwab says she was watched when using the bathroom, even taking a shower.
Once you were into the shower, they would open the other curtain and they would sit in that area and watch.
Schwab says she had no way to tell her parents what was going on. The letters she wrote them were heavily censored.
If we said anything that even suggested that we were being abused or made the program look bad, we would be punished instead.
Desperate to get out, one day Schwab took extreme measures.
I ended up cutting my wrist, hoping that it would get me sent to a mental hospital instead, because I wanted to be able to see my family for Christmas. It did not work.
The story of Ivy Ridge is told in the new Netflix docuseries called The Program: Cons, Cults, and Kidnapping.
They were being treated like prisoners.
The series is shining new light on the so-called troubled teen industry. Thousands of behavior modification facilities, treatment centers, and outdoor wilderness programs across the country that critics say are largely unregulated, deceptively marketed, and even deadly. In 2020, Cornelius Fredericks was just 16 when he got into trouble for throwing a sandwich.
The video shows the moments leading up to the death of the Detroit teenager who was restrained by staff in a Kalamazoo youth home.
2 staffers were sentenced to probation. The school shut down. In 2022,
if they would have took her to the doctor or the ER, she'd still be here.
17-year-old Taylor Goodrich died after a medical emergency at a boarding school in Utah, home to more troubled teen programs than any other state.
We've had a long history of problems in the state of Utah.
State Senator Mike McKell is working to change that with a bill that became law in 2021. It limits the use of restraints and drugs, requires facilities to submit reports when kids are put in solitary confinement, and they must submit to 4 surprise inspections every year.
There are a lot of facilities that years ago I would have been really concerned with that are improving. But it's a big industry with a lot of money. The financial incentive is still there.
Critics point out some troubled teen programs can cost up to $30,000 a month, saying the industry overall takes in millions of dollars in public money from Medicaid and local and state governments.
The whole thing was a big scam to get money from parents and keep kids there as long as they possibly could.
Ivy Ridge closed in 2009, and the organization that ran it is out of business. The National Association of Therapeutic Schools and Programs is the largest nonprofit membership group for residential treatment centers. It was not associated with Ivy Ridge, but the group says programs that incorporate clinical evidence and research can do some good. In a statement after the Netflix series, the group says the association will continue to work tirelessly to eliminate systems of abuse and champion genuine, safe solutions for youth in need of authentic therapy. Kristen Schwab wants Congress to pass a national law with more stringent oversight.
There are multiple programs that are just like that one, still open around the country, run by a lot of the same people. That they'll shut one down and they'll just reopen in the same location or down the street with a different name, and it's the exact same thing.
Prosecutors in St. Lawrence County, New York, are now investigating dozens of new complaints against former Ivy Ridge staff members. Kristen's mother wants to see criminal charges.
How dare you abuse my daughter and treat her like an animal? Why, if you're professional people, how could you do this to somebody?
This is just an open heart as a symbol for hope.
Schwab is now doing her best to move forward, but says she is committed to speaking out for other teens who cannot.
To know that there's still people that it's happening to today is terrible.
Clayton Sandell reporting for us. I'm joined now by Teen Rehabilitation Program survivor Haywood Robinson and her mother, Ann Crowder. Thank you both for being here and talking about what is an intense and vulnerable really topic and conversation that so many people don't really know about. Haywood, I would love to start with you. How would you describe your experience at the Montana facility where you were sent?
Just like Ivy Ridge, very similar. We had the same facilitators as Ivy Ridge. It was psychologically torture. They deprived us of food, sleep, and basically broke us down psychologically until they could basically try to build us back up into what they thought was the perfect child. It wasn't what they told my parents it would be. It wasn't this overhaul of their child. They didn't make me better. They really broke me down. That's really all I can say about it. It was just torture. It was psychological torture.
How long were you there for?
I was there for 9 months.
Wow. And you know, we're hearing this is not something that was described to you, that it would be like this. And there are some people that may think, you know, what parent would send their kid to a place like this? Why did you send her there?
And that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Back 23 years ago, we were told she was a troubled teen. We knew nothing about mental illness at the time. And we found Spring Creek Lodge as an advertisement in a very high-end magazine. And it was billed as a great place to send your troubled teen. We can rehabilitate them. We can help them. We even had a local lady in our community who met with me and told me, this is a great place to send your child. Go ahead and you won't regret it. So we did. And the marketing for this place was just unbelievable. Again, it was like they were going to a summer camp. Mm-hmm. And like I say, 9 months later, I took her out of there real quick.
Yeah, I mean, and let's talk about that moment when you took her out, Haywood. I mean, because we've heard in some survivors' cases that when they told their parents or tried to, their parents didn't necessarily believe what they were saying, you know, pointing to the marketing kind of aspect of it. What was that conversation like with your mom to get you out?
Well, it's really tough because, like you saw in the previous clip, they would take your letters that you sent to your parents and they would look through them. And if you said anything about the program being anything negative, they wouldn't send those letters. Mm-hmm. So, and then when I got phone calls, finally, when I got to a certain level, they would hang up the phone immediately if you said anything negative about the program. So my mom didn't know until I was graduating from high school there at Spring Creek Lodge. She said that she would pull me if I graduated high school. And it wasn't until she got there that she realized that the case manager wasn't there to speak at my graduation. And it it was just a really negative situation that transpired during that graduation process. And so I can let my mom tell you this part, but she pulled me immediately and talked to the case. The case managers are incentivized to keep the students there as long as possible.
And
so we were not happy with the case manager.
Yeah, and I do, because I'm running short on time here, so I want to ask you this, Anne. When you realized the scope of what was happening to your daughter, what did that feel like?
Yes. Awful. And to this day, it is a nightmare I relive over and over. And it was not until I actually got there and I gave them a piece of my mind that this was not what you told me was going to happen. You people don't hold yourself accountable, but you're making my child hold herself accountable. And it was just, I took her out, and while we're here today to discuss, parents, please talk to a mental health professional before you make any type of move like this.
I was going to ask, and Haywood,
back then we didn't know.
Right. So many things have changed. Haywood, 30 seconds here. What do you want to see change when it comes to this issue?
Like my mom said, I want people to start understanding that people aren't just troubled teens. There is a maturation. There is mental illness. I was diagnosed with bipolar at the age of 35. In hindsight, that is clearly what was going on when I was a troubled teen. And I wrote about this in my book, Chasing Pleasure with Pain. And it's really something that parents need to look at and realize that this might not be just adolescence. This might be mental illness, or this is something that we can treat with heavy therapy.
Yeah, it's a bigger picture. Haywood Robinson and Ann Crowder, we appreciate you sharing your stories tonight. Thank you so much. And folks, stay with us after the break. My conversation with Paris Hilton.